Hello and welcome to Idea TV News Update. I am Cynthia Bassi. We begin with the headlines. CCB set to launch digital asset declaration system to fight corruption. African minister sets new continent-wide agenda to boost private investment. Morocco and the African Development Bank push private capital as key driver of Africa's growth at 2025 forum opening. Tanzania moves to expand tea exports with new trade push to Egypt. And away from Africa, Asian stocks extend gains as weak U.S. data first rate cut hopes. In business, airlines updated paper-based process that was often neglected and underutilized. The new asset and liability declaration system will enable real-time verification of public officers' assets by linking multiple national databases including the Corporate Affairs Commission, land registries, and financial institutions. Bello explained that the system will automatically detect undeclared companies, properties, and income streams, significantly reducing opportunities for corruption. A graded service fee will be introduced for senior officials, while junior staff and others and those unable to pay will be exempted, ensuring sustainability of the platform. Senator Neda Mashion, chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions, praised the initiative and its funding model, highlighting the CCB's previous struggle to finance basic operations. The fully operational digital system is expected to be a game-changer in Nigeria's fight against corruption, streamlining declarations while promoting accountability across government institutions. In another news, African ministers from across the continent met in Rabat, Morocco, where they outlined a unified strategy to attract long-term private investment. The high-level panel held during the opening of AFDB's African Markets Days 2025 focused on why African governments must now take the lead in mobilizing private capital as conventional financing continues to decline. The ministers emphasized that clear and stable regulations are essential for investor confidence, citing reforms already underway in countries such as Ethiopia, Cote d'Ivoire, and Mauritania. They also highlighted major regional infrastructure projects such as cross-border rail and energy networks as key tools to strengthen connectivity and support multi-country value chains. They further agreed that public-private partnerships backed by stronger macroeconomic stability and de-risking measures will shape Africa's new development model. With examples from Zambia and Guinea showing rising investment interest, the ministers reaffirmed their collective commitment to creating predictable business environments capable of unlocking private sector-driven growth across the continent. In another news, Morocco and the African Development Bank have macroeconomic stability and competitive business conditions. She said Africa must modernize its frameworks, empower SMEs, and build new value chains and industrial ecosystems to drive employment and innovation. Dr. Ota added that the African Development Bank's strategy focuses on massive capital mobilization, a revamped financial architecture, and large-scale investment in infrastructure and human capital to harness Africa's fast-growing population. Both leaders stressed the need for coordinated action among investors, regulators, and financial institutions to close the continent's financing gap. They called for increased support for energy, logistics, digital systems, and local value addition, emphasizing that transforming raw materials on the continent will create jobs and strengthen resilience. They described the African Investment Forum as a platform designed to connect capital with viable projects and accelerate concrete transactions. Tanzania has opened discussions with the Egyptian embassy in Dar es Salaam as part of a new effort to boost its tea exports to one of Africa's largest consumer markets. The Tea Board of Tanzania said the talks held on November 21st exposed ways to expand Tanzania's access to the Egyptian market and strengthen bilateral trade arrangements for the sector. During the meeting, both sides examined potential agreements that could ease trade flows and create new commercial opportunities. The Egyptian embassy also pledged to include the Tea Board in upcoming trade and investment forums between the two countries, offering a platform for direct business engagement and greater visibility for Tanzania tea producers. The push comes as Egypt remains a major global tea importer, purchasing about $273.7 million worth of tea in 2024, yet only 0.2% of that came from Tanzania. With Kenya currently dominating Egypt's supply, Tanzania is seeking to raise its competitiveness and increase export earnings after generating nearly $19.4 million from tea shipments last year. We now go on a quick break. The news continues when we return.
Blockchain technology. Blockchain is most commonly associated with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but its potential goes far beyond that. Blockchain offers a decentralized, secure, and transparent way to record transactions, which is being applied in industries like finance, supply chain management, and healthcare. For instance, blockchain can verify the origin of products and supply chains or ensure the integrity of medical records. But blockchain still faces hurdles. Its energy consumption and scalability are major issues. By 2025, the blockchain market is expected to grow to $39.7 billion, but widespread adoption will depend on overcoming these challenges.
Good to have you back, and if you're just joining, this is Idea TV News Update. Now the rest of the news. Away from Africa, Asian equities extended their global rally on Wednesday after weak U.S. economic data strengthened expectations that the Federal Reserve may cut interest rates in December. Investors were buoyed by reports that Kevin Hassett, President Donald Trump's top economic aide, is the frontrunner to become the Fed's next chair, raising hopes for a more dovish monetary policy stance. Recent U.S. data showed private employers shedding an average of 13,500 jobs per week, retail sales rising more slowly than expected, and consumer confidence fading to a 7-month low. Analysts say the figures highlight concerns over labor market conditions and household income, feeding speculation that the Fed could reduce borrowing costs for a third consecutive meeting. Market observers also noted that the delayed data, including wholesale inflation reports, suggested businesses face higher costs, but overall growth signals remain subdued. The potential appointment of Hassett, seen as aligned with President Trump's preference for lower interest rates, further reinforced the market's optimism for easing, driving risks on sentiment across global equities. Now in health news, the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria (MDCN) officially inducted 349 foreign-trained medical and dental professionals on Tuesday in Abuja, marking a significant boost to the country's healthcare workforce. Among the inductees, 340 are medical doctors and 9 are dentists, all of whom passed the council's assessment examinations, making them eligible to practice in Nigeria. During the induction ceremony, MDCN Registrar Dr. Fatima Kiari emphasized the importance of ethical practice and housemanship, describing it as a foundational year under consultant supervision essential for professional growth. She encouraged the new doctors to embrace responsibility, serve patients with dignity, and contribute positively to their communities, while warning of strict disciplinary measures for any breaches of professional or ethical standards. The president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Bala Audu, also addressed the inductees, highlighting the dual expectations of leadership and teamwork in medical practice. He stressed that doctors are entrusted with societal responsibilities, must recognize their limitations, and seek assistance when necessary, underscoring the practice of medicine is both a privilege and a duty that extends beyond personal gain. And now in business news, airlines around the world are facing uneven cost pressures as volatile jet fuel prices combine with weakening local currencies, according to the International Air Transport Association. The industry body noted that countries whose currencies have depreciated against the US dollar are paying significantly more for fuel, intensifying operating challenges. Russia and Brazil are among the hardest hit, with their currencies sliding sharply due to sanctions and domestic economic policies. IATA highlighted that jet fuel accounts for roughly 26% of total airline operating expenses, often revel in labor costs, with 55 to 60% of global airline costs dominated in US dollars, fluctuations in currency values have direct implications for profitability. A 1% appreciation of the dollar against local currencies, for example, could reduce operating margins by around 0.1% points, while a 1% depreciation would have the opposite effect. The report also noted that major economies such as the EU, China, and India have seen their currencies weaken since mid-2022, although in some markets the dollar has declined against local currencies this year, slightly easing fuel costs. IATA warned that persistent currency swings and jet fuel volatility, driven by geopolitical tensions and supply chain disruptions, will continue to shape airline finances worldwide. And lastly, in sports news, the first ever renewed Hope IKEJA Federal Constituency Basketball Championship kicked off on Monday at the Police College Court in IKEJA, featuring 18 teams across the constituency's political wards. The week-long tournament, running from November 24th to 30th, offers significant cash prizes and aims to engage and empower local youth through sport. Sponsored by Olawale Fadare, personal assistant on general duties to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and supported by the Young Professionals for Tinubu Network, the championship seeks to provide a constructive platform for young athletes. Tournament coordinator Kenneth Agba assured participants of a competitive and well-organized event, while Francis Nkwo, leader of the House in Onigbongbo Local Council Development Area, urged players to maintain discipline and fair play. Top prizes include 500,000 naira for the champions, with 300,000 naira, 200,000 naira, and 100,000 naira awarded to the next 3 teams. The remaining 14 teams will each receive 50,000 naira. Participating squads include Ebon Comets, Hoops and Reed Cantonment, Police, Banton, Heat Kings, Bobcats, Raptors, Senators, Light Academy, and others. The tournament also features a slam dunk contest, 3-point shooting challenge, dance and DJ sessions, youth talent showcases, and a raffle draw. And now that's all we have for you on Idea TV News Updates. But before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. We brought to you news that CCB set to launch digital asset declaration system to fight corruption. We also brought to you news that African minister sets new continent-wide agenda to boost private investment. Morocco and the African Development Bank push private capital as key driver of Africa's growth at 2025 forum opening. Tanzania moves to expand tea exports with new trade push to Egypt. And away from Africa, Asian stocks extends gains as weak US data fails rate cuts hopes. And in business, airlines struggles as weakening currencies push up fuel costs. While in health, MDCN inducts 349 foreign-trained doctors and dentists into Nigeria's healthcare system. And lastly, in sport, 18 teams compete in inaugural renewed Hope IKEJA Basketball Championship. And now do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Idea Television. I am Cynthia Bassi. Thank you for watching.